Hello everyone. I am back again with another garden update. I decided to start on the back side this time. So we're going to get right into it. These are the bush beans here that I had planted from seed. They're already up, uh, trellising around the cucumber trellis. The wing beans that I planted. I planted 8 beans and I have 4 plants that came up. So I'm very excited about that. I have one there and then one there and I have one over there, one on the back side over there, and then one on the back side over there. But here in the middle are my long green cucumbers. They are growing very nicely. The plants are, they're growing a bit slowly, but they are growing. I have seen a couple of female flowers on here, but I have no idea if they got pollinated because as they were starting to put on flowers, we've been getting a lot of rain. I know I was supposed to record yesterday, but I didn't because when I had planned on coming out here, rain was coming and I didn't know. So I put it off until today. See, there's a long green cucumber right there, but I have no idea whether or not it got pollinated. But also, where I planted some peanuts in here, as you can see, I have some peanut plants here that are coming up. I'm going to go to the other side. There's another peanut plant here. I'm waiting for, there's one here that's coming up. I had to replant the ones here because they came up with the cotyledon leaves missing. See, there's another, this is a female long green cucumber right here. Again, I don't know if this was pollinated, but I'll soon find out. Uh-oh, yeah, the one of the other wing beans that I planted along with that one. The sunflower cosmos seeds that I planted in here on the front and the back side, my okra. I also stuck some peanuts here and some there as well. This is the corn that I planted that is doing very well here. It's definitely going to be looking like it's going to be knee high by the 4th of July. A couple of them are already past the knee high by the 4th of July position. Um, More bush beans. I finally, finally got patty pan squash to actually uh, yellow patty pan to finally produce, to germinate in here. And so this plant is doing very well. The backup plant, ironically, this one popped up, and the backup plant that I started, I actually ended up having to pull that one up. So it didn't. I didn't even need it in anyway. So that worked out well. Over here, wow, they got me again. So of course this was full of beans, but something here has clearly been eating the beans. So if you notice, something chomped this down right here and got a part of this one right here. Absolutely no problem. I'll transplant something else in here or grow something from seed. I do have eggplants left that I still have to plant out. So that's probably what I'm going to put in here with the beans that are still in the tire. Clearly, it is time for me to harvest these potatoes. This has really been a big change in the green that was left here since the last time I looked at these. I guess because of all the rain that we got, but I'm not going to pull them just yet because the soil is still very wet from the rain, and there's a possibility that we're going to get more rain later on today here. Okay, in this bed here with my Prescott Fun Blanc melons. As you can see, the melons have really turned around. They're doing really well. They have started putting on flowers. Unfortunately, my sunflowers have not been doing well. Something came, the one that was in that corner over there, and chomped the head clean off of it. That has happened to 2 of my sunflowers. This one in this corner is very scraggly. I'm going to be pulling that up. This one also has been struggling. So I think I'm going to put something else here in the corners of these beds. I just don't know what just yet. But I'm very excited about the Prescott's. No female flowers yet, but the uh, plants themselves, they are doing very well. The only complaints I have so far this year are these black mites that I have in the garden. These things have just been a torture this year. They spot up all of the leaves. I actually did end up pulling up the zucchini I had there because it just didn't seem to be matter how much love I kept trying to give it. It just would not uh, heal. It wouldn't turn around for me. This is my sorry about that. Let me see if I can unzip it. This is the first patty pan squash. Just bear with me a moment. The first patty pan squash that I had to germinate, and it's leaning down right now because of the rain, but it is already putting on flowers here. I'm definitely going to come back and place up some kind of support for it to rest on, to tie it to keep it up off the ground. But just yesterday before the rains came, it was standing up very nice and tall. So um, I harvested some potatoes here, the ones that were in here, but it's really nothing to show. I got a couple of handfuls, but I left them in the shed, uh, and you know what I thought was going to be a dark, cool place for them to dry, and some little creature, I put them in a container and everything, and something got to them and started nibbling on them. So I won't be eating those. I'll know next time not to do that. So I'll just see what comes up with the potatoes that I still have left to harvest. This is the bed with all of the marigolds and the Market More cucumbers here. See, there's a cucumber on here. Not exactly sure if it pollinated. Kind of does. Um, it kind of looks like it, but again, can't be sure. When all of these flowers started coming on, we were getting a lot of rain. Yeah, see, if you can see on this plant right here, there are two female flowers. There are two baby cucumbers on here. I just have no idea if they got pollinated, so there's nothing to do but to wait and see. Here are my other okras. I never did get around to taking the other one out of here, so I guess this will just be experimental. And if you look at the leaves, you see it's like a lot of these little spots. It's mites. It's mites. I'm dealing with that. This blackberry looks terrible because of all of the rain. I caught a bird eating off of them the other day, which I didn't mind. It's the first time I've ever dealt with birds eating my fruit. Oh, that one just fell right off tree for me. Um, when I tell you, these things have been so sweet. It got so heavy I had to tie it up to keep the branch from breaking. But there's definitely more ripening, more fruits coming on. I saw a baby praying mantis out here on one of the vines on yesterday, or day before yesterday. We had a great little conversation. My blueberries, the few that I do have, they haven't started turning blue just yet. My Minnesota musk melons here, the plants that were the ones that are behind, um, they have definitely, I had been having a real problem with the mites with these, but they are definitely starting to catch up. So is this one here. These two again here. I ended up removing the side shoots yet again, because of all of the rain that we were getting. I only have two fruits, but this is one of the fruits here, and as you can see, it is starting to web, and once that, the web fully forms on there, that's when these will be ready. But they are supposed to be very small, like softball size. This one is a little smaller than softball size melons, little personal size melons, but the vines only get to be like 3 feet. So I knew that this was done. So I pinched off the tips so the fruit would just, so the plants would just focus on, ripening the fruit because the vines had stopped growing. The growth tips, all the flowers on the growth tips had started turning brown. So I knew these plants were done producing the flowers they were going to put on. So I'm gonna have those two fruits, which is perfectly fine. Then I'll wait and see what I get off of the other two. This is my Cocazelle. I got that one beautiful fruit off of there so far. And the plant is big and luscious and healthy. As you can see here, there is an enormous female fruit on here that I just can only hope and pray that there's a suitor for. When she goes to open, there is a male flower right there. I just don't know if it's going to open at the same time, but I will say that the flowers do look like they're at the same stage of when they're going to open, so there is a good chance. I gotta try harder next year or either in the fall about having more plants planted at the same time so that there's always a male flower for every female, by the time it needs a pollinator. But I'm so happy at how this plant has really turned itself around. Like the growth it's been putting on. This is a very, very healthy female fruit on there, and it was starting off at the beginning. It would put on female fruits, and then the fruits would dry up before the flowers even open for pollination. So it had nothing to do with them not being pollinated. This was before they were even opening up. So I clearly have rectified that issue. This is one of the, what am I trying to say, early moonbeam watermelons, yellow ice box variety. The vine here has started to branch out. One of my little baby volunteer pepper plants. Check out this one. There are two volunteer pepper plants in here, but this one right here is really doing the damn thing. And I decided to leave them exactly where they were. That plant is also doing well here. The watermelon plant was not doing well. So on just yesterday or a day before yesterday, I decided to pull that one, and I put in one of my Black Beauty eggplant transplants again. Two more volunteer. I have to believe that they're red Thai chilies is what I truly believe that they are, because I had them planted in this pool over here, which is an absolute mess right now. But I'm not using it for anything. I had a red Thai chili planted in that pool last year, so maybe the birds or something carried some seeds over here, and that's why I have so many plants popping up everywhere. No complaints out of me about it. Um, I'll come back and deal with that. These golden raspberry plants, y'all saw what these plants look like, and I have been loving on them, and they have now started putting on all of this beautiful green foliage. I have eaten some of the fruits. The ones I've eaten have been pretty tasty, but this is definitely not the year for the golden raspberry. It was more so the year for getting the fruits back healthy, the plants back healthy again, and so that has happened. Look at the princess tub. The princess tub makes me very, very happy. Something came and chomped the head off of one of the sunflowers that was in here, but what I did was I took the Thai basil plant that I had that was stuck underneath my purple hull peas, which you'll see shortly, and I transplanted it in here. These are zinnias. My zinnia seeds showed up. These things are growing so quickly. I swear I just planted these like 5 days ago. Like they just popped up like 5 days ago or something. And these things already have a full set of true leaves on them. They are growing so incredibly fast. The couple of bush bean plants I put in here, the marigolds that I planted in here, the first butternut squash that I put in here that I was actually concerned about. Like I thought about pulling it, and something was like, no, just give it more time. Look at how big this thing has gotten. And this is what it was looking like, but it stayed looking like that for so long. I thought that it wasn't doing well. And so the other transplant that I had, I put it in here, but I'm not freaking out because I remembered that's how this one looked for so long. And the next thing I knew, it went from looking like this, to now this is how it looks. So I'm definitely going to leave there. I had also sprinkled a couple of Cosmo seeds in here before I made up the decision to put in this Thai basil, but they still, even though I dug them up basically to put the Thai basil in there, they still germinated. So they get enough sunlight and things, which I'm sure they will eventually. They're going to start producing true leaves like these zinnias. I am absolutely amazed at how quickly these zinnias are putting on true leaves. I swear these things like just popped up like 3 or 4 days ago or 4 or 5 days ago, and they already have true leaves on them. So this makes me very, very happy. This tote is going to be so beautiful. The Most High willing, nothing else comes and eats down another sunflower, okay? But it's going to be full of flowers, and then there'll be the butternut squash vines. And I'm going to let that Thai basil go to flower intentionally to provide more sources, more source for the bees here, food source for the bees. So, yeah, we have that. Over here are the Sugar Baby Bush watermelons that I planted long after the early moonbeam watermelons. And these things are growing faster than the early moonbeam. Look at this plant. Look at this. Look at how big this plant has gotten. I planted these like 2 months apart, and the seeds showed up, and I planted them, and they literally already have tendrils coming on. Like, this one plant, this one right here is just busting it out. It's growing so quickly. So I'm very, very pleased with that. So now we're gonna come over here, and this is where I had my sugar daddy, excuse me, my sugar daddy peas planted, and the plants, it was a hard decision for me to pull them up, but it really shouldn't have been because the quality and the taste had gotten low. So I decided to put in two Black Beauty, almost said eggplants, Black Beauty zucchinis, and I think these are two Roma tomato plants. And just look at how beautifully these plants are thriving. They are so lush and they are so green. Since I transplanted them, they are growing very quickly in here. These plants are very happy. They're very healthy. So I'm very excited about that. This is the bag here that has my one and only borage plant. Never, things that never happen. In this bag here, and then this is a red cherry tomato plant here, and the beans I chose to leave in, that I'm just going to let the pods stay in there and dry on the vine, so I can save the seeds and maybe plant them out for the fall. Of course, the chocolate mint and the pineapple mint here looking really well. These are my beefsteak tomato plants, and again, outside of the little bit of damage on the leaves right now, again, we've been getting a lot of these things had completely cleared up, but it's only because of the rain that we've been getting. You can clearly see here that the tomatoes are starting. Let me see if I need to focus this, if I can focus this. Tomatoes are beginning to set. I'm having a hard time seeing because of the sun, but I actually have three beefsteak tomatoes coming on. Is that a baby something? I don't know. It's something, but I thought it was a praying mantis. It's not a praying mantis. But yeah, these plants here, they are doing really well. These are my beefsteaks. Those are my carrots back there, looking all nice and bushy. I took my finger and ran around the top of the soil to feel them. They're not quite ready yet. This is a Southern California, what am I trying to say, Wonder Pepper here. I will say that in my carrots, I saw what I know was tomato hornworm poop. I know it was some kind of hornworm poop, but I have yet to see the hornworm. But I have seen some little green eggs on my tomato plant, so I know that they're around. I know it's coming. It's the inevitable, right? But I've been brushing eggs off as I have seen them. Normally, I hand raise them, and I'll still do the same thing this year and let them pupate and things, but I don't want to do as many as I've done in previous years here. But but this is the backup Cocozelle that I had, and so I put that in a grow bag. It seems to be doing just fine. These are the would have been atomic grape tomato plants that weren't. These plants, of course, are doing beautifully. I have a tomato on here right now that is ready to be eaten. I was so happy when I figured out that these little organza bags I had uh, can cover up a whole truss of tomatoes. So even though I've never done this in the past, I just decided to cover up the truss once the tomatoes started turning red, that I would cover up the trusses of tomatoes. So definitely it's extra protection. I'm gonna eat this. Whatever you are, thank you for being so delicious. That's literally all I can say. This area here makes me scratch my head. This is where I have my Space Master cucumbers. These vines seem to have stopped growing. Okay, I have two Space Master cucumbers. Yeah, two. There's one here, and then there is one behind here. Very funny looking shaped fruits, but they are growing. But I don't know if these are going to put on any more flowers. It seems like since I harvested the last fruits that I've harvested, I haven't seen, there hasn't been another flower on here since. The jalapeno, however, in the middle here is doing absolutely fantastic. I even have a little jalapeno that's getting ready to come on here. So this one is about to start taking off with its production. I do have something else in mind to put in here that I'm not going to speak about just yet. It's going to be a massive surprise. It's something that I decided to do this year that I had been putting off for the last couple of years, fearing I didn't have enough space, things of that nature. Something's telling me to go ahead and pull these Space Master cucumbers up or cut them down at the soil line. I'll think about it for a moment, but I don't really know if these are going to grow anymore. I know the vines are supposed to be short, but it's just kind of like strange that they just seem to stop putting on flowers. So I don't know, but by the end of the month, which is like a week away, they might be out of here. But I don't see another flower come on these vines by July the 1st. I'm going to get rid of the Space Master cucumber plants. The fertilizer I'm making, this is the stinkiest shit that I have ever come across in my life. The only thing I could imagine would be worse than this is a dead body. That's just the honest to God's truth. I'm going to open this and I'm going to regret it because I want you guys to see what it looks like. It's developing canned yeast on the top. As you can see, everything is breaking down as well as it's supposed to be. But yeah, that's like bacteria growth on the top here. This is rancid. It smells absolutely horrible. I must be living right today. The wind is not blowing at the moment, so I cannot smell it. And I'm standing right here near it, so I'm grateful for that. But when I tell you, I have opened it twice since then, and it took my breath away. It was the worst thing I have ever smelled in my life, okay? So again, here is my basil here that is doing wonderfully well in all of my propagated chocolate mint here. These things are doing awesome. Here are my purple whole peas. Look at this. These are the purple whole peas. They are already all the way up to the top of the trellis. They are hanging off the top of the trellis. They have flowers. They have beans. I decided to stick with what I've been doing in the past is once they start turning purple, to harvest them off and to take them in the house and to let them dry so that they will keep producing so I can get more. Remember, in here was where that Thai basil was, but I decided to take it out and move it to the, I did it because of that sunflower being chopped down. So that's the reason why I took it out and moved it. But the purple whole peas, they never fail. They have never ever failed me. The ants love them. They harvest aphids off of them. I don't see any aphids just yet, but I know that they are coming. But these are really, really rocking. I have cowpeas everywhere on these plants here. These again are bush beans that I cannot remember the name of, that have already started flowering here, so they'll be giving me some bush beans soon. You know, I don't know. These are supposed to be dwarf marigolds and African marigolds. These plants are so big. I'm like, wow, I didn't even know that marigolds got this big, but they're big and they're healthy. And if you can see here, they are getting ready to put on a flower head. So I'm very excited about that. This little jalapeno here, it's been slow to grow, but it is healthy and it is growing, so I'm not concerned there. Here is my grow bag with my Market More cucumbers in here. There is another cucumber right there, if you guys can see that. Like I said, I'm having a hard time because of the sun. And then I have some, I didn't even know if these got pollinated or yet. I mean, or not here yet, but clearly that one did. Oh yeah, this one most certainly, this one right here most certainly did. That Market More. And yeah, so far here now I have 3 more cucumbers, 3 in a possible, as we would say for those of you all who play spades. Like myself here, I got 3 in a possible growing on right now. My oregano is doing very well. The Swiss chard, you know, it's doing. I had to take one of the plants out because it just it couldn't act right. So my Swiss chard is in there, right? This is supposed to be a red cherry, okay? But again, I'm a little concerned that these are not red cherries. I mean, not concerned in that kind of sense, but I'm looking at the shape of the fruit. I actually think that these are Romas. I think I might have mislabeled these, and I thought that this was a Roma tomato plant. The shape, I mean, a red cherry tomato plant, the shape is giving me more Roma than it is giving me red cherry. So I'm definitely banking on these being Roma tomatoes and not red cherries. So I'm gonna flip those tags around. These are my eggplant seedlings here. The eggplants are finally catching up. I transplanted that one out because it was bigger than the rest, but this is going to be the next one that I transplant out, the long purple, Louisiana long purple, I think it is. And these are 2 more black beauties. These seedlings, they look absolutely beautiful. The peppermint here that I grew from seed here, a sucker that I took off of one of the beefsteak tomatoes, some propagated thyme, some peppers that I planted that may or may not come up. These seeds were old, so I just wanted to see if there was any chance of there being any life. A couple more tomato plants that I planted, Jubilee and Cherry Chocolate, but I've only gotten 1 Jubilee tomato plant, which is absolutely fine. I know now what this plant is. This is the volunteer plant from last year. This is a Juliet tomato here. So this one is growing on very well. I don't know what this is yet. It's putting on fruit, but I can't tell. But I'm kind of looking at it, and they look kind of circular to me. So this might actually be the black, the red cherry. I'm sorry, you guys are just like brain farting all over the place today. This might actually be a red cherry and not aroma like I initially had it labeled. Like this one here is labeled as aroma, but as you can see, these fruits are very round. So I don't think that this is aroma. I think I got my tags mixed up. So easy fix. That means then though that I am short aroma tomato plant. So I gotta go back and look, but I'm definitely knowing, I feel in my heart that one I had labeled as a red cherry that I just showed you is aroma. So either one of those plants that I put down there in that half whiskey barrel is a either both of them are aromas or one of them is aroma and one of them is going to end up being a red cherry. That's the only thing that it could possibly be. This has never happened before, so I'm just as confused as you guys are. But in any event, I'm not even concerned when the fruits start to fully form and start to change color. I'll know exactly what they are. My basil here, my Italian flat leaf parsley that's growing on here, and my swimming pool of just the mixed greens that I threw in here. I threw some zinnia seeds in here as well. They are also up. See those down there, and then those here. And then my dill, which keeps turning yellow from the bottom. I don't know what that means. But they just keep turning yellow and brown at the bottom. So I'll have to try to figure out what that's about. The couple of bean plants, the white Russian kale, it looks like lacinato kale that's in here. These little plants are doing pretty good. You know, for what it's worth, like I said, I just threw them out there. But some of these are definitely going to be edible as long as they don't bolt. But this part over here in the garden only gets about 4 hours of direct sunlight, if that. So I'm not really concerned about it if they stay with me or they don't. The backup plants that I had that somebody is actually coming to pick up, so they have a home. That's them. These are what I thought was the atomic grape tomato plants. I rooted these in water, and then I transplanted them out just a few days ago. Some little caterpillar, army worm. Um, yeah, and so I just transplanted these, but of course they might be looking just a little bit like yellow because of all of the water that they have gotten from the rain here. But I know that they're going to be just fine because the plants, they taste really good, even though it wasn't the fruit, even though it wasn't what I initially thought it was going to be. They taste really good. So yeah, that's what's growing on. The garden is doing very well. I got a couple spaces to fill. Like, yeah, look at these. Look at these purple whole peas. They always do this though. They are the easiest things in the world to grow to me next to like yard long beans, asparagus beans. They just, you plant them, you water them, and stick them in some sun. And that's about it. So I got some tags to switch out. I got some spaces that I gotta fill. I am so glad I did not have to smell that fertilizer because when I just smelled it about 2 or 3 days ago, I wanted to heave. It was absolutely repulsive. So that's what I have, you guys. And until the next one, namaste.